Hi, this is Crippled System Videocast Episode 7. I'm JR.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Valiant418, Jeremy. All right. So I'm on the right there. We did deployment on the clock, and I think I'm first.
Yeah,
I should remember this. This was like an hour ago.
Yeah, I won the roll, but chose to go second because I wanted the hill.
That's
Brian
right.
introducing his mellow yellow can.
Brian's advertising his mellow yellow for a second here. So in a second here, we're going to start to deploy. I'm playing Retribution because that's what I'm on lately, although I do also play Legion. A little bit of a different faction. Oh, somebody moved that out of the way. That was helpful of them. I'm glad that wasn't there the whole video. But today I'm playing Rahn. I've got Rahn there that I'm placing front and center like a boss. I've got 2 Phoenixes for arc nodes and general shenaniganness. I've got 2 units of battle mages because I love them. I go back and forth about whether or not to include magisters in the list. At the moment, they're not there. I do like them, and I like the options they give you for order of activation. But meh, at the moment they're not there. I'm running Silas, Epic Eris, Iana and Holt, Narn, and 2 Mage Hunter Assassins because my pairing list with this at the moment is Eviros, Tyr, and he can't take any characters. So Ron's like, I will take all of the characters.
Sure,
fabulous. Sure. And then I also have Selena and the Nis Hunters because, like I said, characters because they're awesome. That is my list, and it'll take me a few minutes to deploy here.
So when you're deploying here, what are your is your plan?
So I put Ron in the middle so that I pretty much control areas, the whole board, obviously. That's pretty boss. The 2 Phoenixes I spread out. Depending on what I'm playing against, sometimes I'll put the Phoenixes together, like against Scorn, where I need them possibly together to kill the shit out of heavies, or if I'm facing a Colossal, something like that. They'll be together. Mm-hmm. But I like to have them spread out. It gives me a lot more angles with Ron shenaniganness. Mm-hmm. I think I actually, I'll be honest, misdeployed my Battle Mages a little bit. I put one unit basically in the middle of the table, and then one way on the right.
Yeah, they
flank.
Are way up there.
Yeah, that was a mistake. They should have been just behind the other unit. That was poor part.
They were almost straight up out of the game.
Yeah, well, I run them first turn and I get them back in the game. I think. Oh, spoiler alert! But yeah, they are horribly deployed. And then I do like where I put the Nis here over on the they're a little bit on the left flank, but they've got the hill. They don't give 2 shits about the water or the wall on that side, so it's a good side for them.
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree.
Yeah, so them I was happy with, and I'm almost done, and I'll hand off commentary to Alex.
So, Alex, you've seen his straight linear deployment.
Yeah, and it was actually interesting because when he was first talking about what his list was, he said, and I have all of the solos, and I was like, what do you mean all of the solos? And then I saw his 4 horrendously terrifying AD solos. So, Eris, I'm talking about my list a little bit. I am playing P. Morvana, maybe a terrible matchup against Ret. Who's to say, I guess.
We don't have Purification.
No Purification in Ret, and that was my mindset, is that there's no Purification. I have Sack Pond to and there's a Wold Watcher in my list as well, so I feel like I'm not super scared of the ranged assassination. And I was thinking, as long as I don't run into Rahn, I might be okay. And then here comes Rahn.
We did blind pick our list. Neither one of us knew what the other person was playing.
Yeah. So I've got Wolves of Oberos, which might not be as good as I had hoped. I also have Blood Trackers, full Blood Trackers plus Nuala. I've got 2 units of Shifting Stones, one with the UA. I've got Getterix, a Wold Warden, a Wold Watcher, 1 tree, and I want to say and Swamp Gobbers, of course. So I deployed in such a way so that I was sure to get the hill as soon as possible.
And Lord of the Feast.
And Lord of the Feast. I deployed in such a way to be sure that I got the hill as quickly as possible because I was trying to build what Jeremy would call Fort Morvana.
Yeah, go fuck Fort Morvana.
Where Morvana is just sitting among 3 Shifting Stones that she can sack pawn to in a cloud on a hill, and she's defense 19. She's probably not going to get shot to death. There are a few things that Jeremy has that'll ignore the concealment, but nothing in the game ignores elevation except for earth spikes, so I wasn't super worried about that. So I kind of just centrally deployed my Wolves. This was the first time I had played with Wolves, so I was not used to their horrendously bad command, kind of just keeping them in easily AoE range. I was really worried about Eris because she's fast enough to get in and shoot off, and accurate enough to shoot off the upkeep that was going to be on the Blood Trackers, which didn't inform, probably should have informed, but with... it didn't inform as much as it should have, where I actually ended up putting my Blood Trackers, knowing full well that I was going to cast Regrowth on them. Also, I ran into a pretty big problem where and I do this with Circle a lot because I am still pretty new with Circle, but I jam myself out of advancing at all because of how many AD models there actually are. To the point where I've gotten to the point where I'm really playing just a min unit of Blood Trackers a lot because they don't bog me down as much. Anyway, I'm deploying centrally both my Wolves and my Blood Trackers, which you'll see very quickly will be a problem for me because I won't be able to advance at all. But most of my time is spent with my AD models. I put one unit of stones kind of back for Morvana to start her Fort Morvana in, and then one a little bit for the stealth unit further forward so I can actually use teleport. And so I put Gedrix on a hard flank, which is an awful idea because he really should be using stones. I put the Wold Warden to counter the Nis because boosted eruption of life is not what Nis are super into. Just in that it will kill a couple because I see a lot of players who don't have to do this. A lot of players will group up to do CRAs, and that is certainly not how CRA works. So,
no.
But typically you'll see people group up in such a way that, like, with the models that they want to CRA with, so you end up killing 3 or whatever.
It's almost like a mental reminder of
Yeah,
these
absolutely.
two are shooting together.
And it actually makes it harder because then they're fucking up each other's slight lines.
Yep,
and
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And then with Morvana's feat as well, my likelihood of killing multipleness I felt was pretty high.
Yeah.
Really quick, Jeremy, your solos you AD'd, what are they top to bottom?
Okay, so top is Eris behind the wall, then it's Narn, and then the 2 Mage Hunter Assassins.
Okay. And then, Alex, you've got your stones, look to be kind of spread out around there, and then you're placing your Blood Trackers now?
Yeah, my Blood Trackers are going down, and this you can even see in my body language that I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have myself blocked in this whole game. Because I did give first turn to Jeremy, as I said, so he will be able to kind of threaten enough of the board where I don't feel super safe moving my Blood Trackers very far because of Chain Blast and Combustion and the 3-inch AoE from 2 Phoenices.
Yeah.
And
I love that you can see my gut the whole video, by the way. That's awesome.
well, you can see my chubby arm, so you're okay.
Yeah, I really need to suck that in.
Yeah, it looks like deployment's about to be over.
Yeah, and you can see we're playing Destruction, which also is not going to help with Alex's problem of being jammed up, because
No.
2 objectives in the middle of the table
Yes.
are really going to slow him down.
Absolutely.
It does hurt Ron's scenario game, though, too.
Yeah.
This is the hardest scenario to win.
It is.
In my
It can
opinion.
be. It can be very, very rough. Mostly just because you don't want to. You have to sink so much into
It
objectives.
takes a lot of dedication to kill those
Too
objectives.
much.
They're what,
Yeah.
armor 20
Armor
boxes?
20, 15
15
All
boxes.
objectives have
Okay.
15
Yep,
boxes,
now they're
16.
not 20 anymore.
But it still takes 3 turns to win it, too, because you
Yep.
can only get 1
Yep.
point that first time.
Yep.
It's miserable. Plus, your own objectives get in the way.
Alex is still fumbling around with his deployment. Looks
Yep.
like he's about finished
I don't know if I'd use fumbling.
fumbling. Is that one model on the side of the hill laying down?
Fumbling drunk.
Every person who plays War Machine knows placing models on these sides of hills is challenging because gravity is a thing. So,
Gravity's a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, and there you seem to
Yeah,
have fixed
around
that
here
now.
we do
All
the
right.
towing the hill thing, and I actually thought about saying something to Alex, and I was like, fuck it.
So Jeremy is beginning his first turn now, maybe?
In a second here, I will stop chatting with Alex and remember that we're playing a game on a video. I'm clarifying something. I don't know what.
Well, it's always good to ask
I had to
about
solve
Oh, the
this
things.
is-
stones.
this
Which
is-
stones were what?
Also,
Oh.
prey. I hadn't declared my prey at the time.
Yep.
I'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
My prey I chose as the battle mages because I was under the impression that in most cases you always want to prey something that you know you're going to fight. In retrospect, I might have been better off praying even an objective so I could always get the speed because that's a thing I see people do.
Yeah,
very
it's
often.
becoming quite a common tactic.
Yep.
Also, I should have known that thanks to stealth, I pretty much out-threatened Nis with Blood Trackers, and I could have just prayed the Nis and probably removed them from the table fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'll do battle mages because they're going to want to come forward because he's going to want to defeat. So I'm probably going to just kill that unit, and it's a fairly small unit, so I can just retarget my prey pretty easily. But in the same way of praying solos, a lot of times when you pray small units, they can be elsewhere pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, he did pray the one right in the middle, and like I said, that other unit was just often effing nowhere land. So that was pretty obnoxious. If I had deployed them right behind each other, then it would have been fine.
Yeah, your deployment is hurting my brain.
To be fair, I haven't played Rahn in 5 months, and so I was just like, what does this model do? Oh man, Rahn has that spell too? He's amazing. Like partway through the game, I just pick up my spell card and look at it for a while. I'm like, man, this is baller.
It is a very obnoxious spell list.
Yeah.
I am using War Room, and it doesn't crash, and it actually does a good job. I've used War Room for a few tournaments now, and I've not had any problem with it. Knock on wood.
And that's on the iPad, right?
Yes.
I've heard it's much more stable on the tablets in general, than it is on the phones. And you sync your list, right, with your opponents?
No, because I'm actually not an idiot. Though my deployment might say otherwise, I am a reasonably intelligent person. Reasonably intelligent.
Yeah. I like how this video is going to be on the internet, and both of us, our deployments are just absolutely
it's not
atrocious.
Good. It's like two monkeys throwing poo at each other in a lot of ways.
It actually took me a minute sitting there deciding whether I was going to allocate focus to my Phoenixes. That I remembered I was going first, and I have 2 Arcanists in the list, and that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I don't allocate my
Power
Phoenixes.
Booster exists.
Power Booster is amazing.
So the reason I chose to go second not only was the hill, but I also thought I didn't consider the scenario as much as I should have. As far as how challenging it was to win, I thought, well, I can probably just alpha out these scenario pieces and jam him and win on attrition because regrowth blood trackers don't go anywhere. But with the fact that my list doesn't actually hit super hard outside of Getterix, being my only real armor cracking, and those being armor 20, I probably should have taken first turn so that I could actually jam you instead of responding to your jam the whole game.
I was pleasantly surprised you told me to go first.
But I felt like the hill was a bigger deal.
The hill was really bad for me, but I still was surprised that you would let me go first.
Yeah.
And that unit there is the one with prey on it. I think at some point I'll remember to move that prey token up next to them, but they are the prey unit.
It's also only my second game with Morvana 1, and she is challenging to play, to say the least. She has a lot to do with her Fury. She's very intricate caster. That Purification has sadly scared off the table, but I think she's
honestly, if you aren't playing her against the Purification caster, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's very, very good.
Yeah, and we were talking about this today where we were saying so Menoth is a problem matchup. Obviously, if you play the mirror match, Morvana is a problem, and then Legion. Mm-hmm. And outside of that...
I mean, P. Doomy's around, but...
He is, but I think that against Trolls, I don't even know if that's a list you play anyway.
Yeah.
So, because the armor cracking problem.
Yeah, is a problem. Well, I mean, blood trackers against troops usually. I mean, 17 with POW 11 boosted POW 11s will kill 17s.
That's true.
But
that's fair. And they sure hit Trolls.
Yeah, no problems there. So Jeremy looks like he's doing the standard, just run forward on your first turn to threaten as much of the table as possible.
Yep, I am trying to leave myself some openings to move stuff around a little bit. That's something that I'm not great at. Like, my Battle Mage placement could be a little bit better. They're not afraid of blast damage, so I could have very easily just left a path in between them for Iona and Holt. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I left at least a model width between them, but it's a little hard to tell if I did or not.
Looks like you put Polarity Shield on the Phoenix.
I did.
And you put
Force Field on
Rahn.
That's mostly just for the NIST. The rest of my army doesn't really give 2 shits about blast damage, but that's Eris. She's true line of sight behind the building.
Yep.
I was like, hey, blood trackers, go the other way.
And you'll see soon that it worked.
Hey, blood trackers, I'm going to pick which direction you go.
As every circle player, I'm sure, knows, losing one upkeep, even especially regrowth, is probably the worst thing to happen to Morvana. Because
that's actually another reason why praying the NIST would have been better, because as they shifted away from Iris, they had their prey targets still in range.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, if had he prayed the NIST like he probably should have, I might not have done what I did with Eris. I might have gone left and tried to push them into the battle mages, because they're 7s or 6s rat.
The blood trackers are 6-8 against their prey.
So them trying to shoot at battle mages is actually super hard for them. They need 9s. So if he'd prayed the NIST, I might have pushed Eris over towards the water and tried to push him towards the battle mages. Possibly. Obviously, we'll never know.
No. It'll be the decision that will...
So in 6 months when we play a game again together,
6 months. Yeah. So here I am running like a child. Not actually running, though. I probably should have done that as well. But running like a child away from Eris because I don't want to lose regrowth. I do send a couple blood trackers kind of over in that area, but you'll see me soon send my Wold Watcher over there to protect them a little bit. Yeah. So
what's the POW on the Wold? The bigger one, the Wold Guardian.
The Wold Guardian, he's POW 17 with his melee attacks.
Okay, so he's not terrible at cracking armor. He's just not good at it.
No, he's not super good at it, and his threat's really, really low, and Morvana doesn't do anything to help it.
Yeah.
Though Hunter's Mark does. There is a...
Oh, yeah. Hunter's Mark works on any beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, he's also a really nice piece to hold back and then just port into whatever gets close.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's significantly further. The 10-inch place is much further than the 7.5-inch charge.
As it turns out.
And this is another moment where I kind of click and realize that I've severely bogged myself down.
Yeah, you were commenting about it this whole activation.
Yeah.
You're like, God damn.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes from going second because Jeremy was able to threaten so much of the center of the board. And again, probably should have ran, but I kind of just wanted to see where things were before I committed to a placement, which I think Reform is a really good way to do that.
So good.
So,
Well, the funny thing was, you're like, I'm going to reform here, and then you started moving guys with reform, and then and you're like, then I'm going to take a few shots. And I'm like, I think the only thing in range is stealth and also rules.
No, I don't. No, I think I was trying to shoot before reforming because I had misunderstood that reform. As long as you don't run, it's at the end.
Oh, that's
of
right. You were like, everyone's going to just shoot and miss so that they can reform. And I was like, no, they just get to reform as long as they didn't end their activation.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Because there was, I think it's the IFP that brought about the whole rules change about when you can and can't reform. So I thought that it had modified how reform worked with the blood trackers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's only if you fail a charge or if you run and your activation immediately ends that you don't get to reform. Because then your activation has ended.
Mm-hmm. So I think now I'm kind of just pondering. I think I'm coming to emotional grips of how horrendous everything is. My Old Watcher gets placed by stones over here, within 2 inches of a few blood trackers, just in case Eris decides to get cheeky and come out. I don't stone form because I'm unintelligent, though I'm not quite activating him yet, so it'll be a few turns. Honestly, this turn is kind of just a comedy of errors that I desperately try to recover from in coming turns. I think I'm about to activate Getorix. Maybe I'm about to activate Lord of the Feast. I don't remember. People don't use Lord of the... I want to talk for a minute about Lord of the Feast, because people don't use him thinking that he's terrible because he always misses his range attack, which is nonsensical because he is Rat 7, so if you're targeting appropriately and your dice don't hate you, you shouldn't miss most of your range attacks. You'll see me there moving him out of stones, which is unwise. He should always be in stones that he can place if he has to.
Yeah.
But my mindset there was actually that you're going to bring your Nis in. You might even charge my blood trackers with a couple Nis, and I'd be able to stand still and shoot at the Nis and get into them and potentially cause a command check. Well, I would cause a command check if I got in.
Yeah.
And if I just got the Nis fleeing, then I wouldn't have to really worry about them for a couple turns at the very least.
Yeah.
So that's why he's out of stones, because I didn't want you running to engage him, even though I think there might be one Nis who'd be able to do that.
Theoretically, although that would have been so much shenanigan to get the lane I needed to get there.
Oh, I guess that's actually not a Nis in the front. That's a Mage Hunter Assassin.
Yeah, the Mage Hunter Assassin.
And I was also very worried about Mage Hunter Assassin coming in, avoiding the terror check and just straight killing him.
Well, it doesn't avoid a terror check, sadly. Engaged or engaging.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, that was actually my plan when I put that assassin there, was like, if Lord of the Feast comes up enough, I'm going to... Because the real problem with an assassin is the same thing as people bitch about with Lord of the Feast, which is they miss all the time. Mm-hmm. I can hit a Lord of the Feast.
Yeah. Though I feel like with Mage Hunter Assassins, both their attack and damage is super dice dependent. Because if you crap out that damage roll, then they just do absolutely nothing.
Yep. But they can be amazing.
Yeah.
I had one do all but like 5 boxes to a Scythian once.
So, in an act of desperation, just to get them into the game, I run several of my wolves forward. You will see a lot of removes here because of Command 8. I was unaware how horrendous that command actually is when you have a 12-man unit and you've bogged yourself down. You're trying to get in a place where you matter. Mm-hmm. So what you'll see is me move my leader and then move a bunch of models out of command, and Jeremy was kind enough to let me move them back into command so that they could actually do something. I think at one point I was even like, yeah, I don't care, he'll make the roll. And I'm like, wait, that's a terrible idea. I'll just bring him back.
Yeah,
and there it was. There's the command point. With a commanding gesture, does Jeremy let me know. And unfortunately, this is just what happens when you have, let's see, 11 blood trackers, 7 stone models, a war beast, and a solo that are all advanced deploys. When you bring other stuff that is not advanced deployed and you don't run on the first turn, you don't have a lot of options as to where you can go.
Yeah.
I think I do an okay job just getting them somewhere.
Where you wound up with them, I thought was actually fairly good.
Yeah, I just wanted them in the game because if I just walked them forward, they weren't going to be. And I don't really know that Circle needs to play a columnar style of infantry. Like, they don't need to wave you because they're all so fast. They can probably all hit around the same time. So.
Yep, which is one of their powers.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm again still struggling with some command, but here, if you see, it's actually just right under my hand where the leader is. It's the leader, the UA leader of the stones is standing right behind the Wold Watcher, who's just at the front edge of the hill towards Jeremy. Me having enough experience with Rahn, I probably should have been a little more intelligent as far as where that model was placed to keep him safe. But
well, he is about 4 inches behind the light.
Yeah.
There's a shifting stone in between him and the light.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty far, 4 inches.
Yeah, and you have 50% chance to slam him back, so I was hoping... Yeah. I do that a lot, where I hope that dice will be in my favor on my opponent's side of the table, and you probably shouldn't bank like that on games.
I think there are sometimes you have to. I don't know if this was one of them.
Yeah. You also see that my Getter placement is not overwhelmingly good because he's not anywhere in stones. He's far on the edge. He's far away from either Phoenix. He's really in no place where he can contest anything, really. So, at most, Battle Mages move up, kill a few of the wolves, and then he goes in and kills some Battle Mages and dies to a Phoenix or a pair of Phoenixes. And obviously, not a good trade. You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose 11 points to get 4 points dead on the other side of the table.
Five whole points.
Okay.
If you terrify the unit, you get the whole unit.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that is very true. But and the reason Getter is so far up is just because I don't have room. I mean, you can see that I really just have nowhere to put that model because there are just so many models all crammed into that like maybe 20-inch area.
Yeah, from this perspective, it looks way worse than it did from my perspective.
Yeah, I trust you that from my perspective, it looked about as bad as it looks here on this video. Morvana's moved up. She's casting her spells. She casts Restoration on the wolves in an attempt just to get their armor a little higher. Of course, Eris is standing in the shadows behind that building if you can't currently see her, so it was kind of a non-issue. However, I did kind of want to... It was kind of me just covering any placement mistakes that I might have made in case that Wold Watcher is too far away from my blood trackers to shield guard, and Eris is within the 12 she would need to be to shoot off regrowth, because that more than anything I desperately don't want. Whereas putting Restoration on the wolves, since their armor's high enough now to resist a lot of blast damage, it becomes a pretty prime target for Eris to just shoot it off.
Yeah.
I think I shipped my turn over to Jeremy and then panic.
Did you move your Gallows Grove at all?
He did not.
No, I think I ported it laterally.
Okay. That may be.
I wanted to be able to reapply Restoration onto Getterix because then he's armor 21 when engaged.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And those things have 360 line of sight, right?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
They are the most hilarious thing to hit with Veil's Oculus.
They might be one of the best arc nodes in the game, actually.
Yeah.
They're pretty insane.
They can't arc when they're engaged still, right? They do still have that limitation?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
But without having to move, and,
Yeah.
and basically a 6.5-inch place,
Yep.
I won
It's
a
hard
few
to
games
just
this
keep
weekend.
them engaged.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because they can just port behind the enemy and be like, ha-ha, 360 vision.
Yep.
So I'm thinking about life and trying to remember how this list plays in any way, shape, or form. And measuring things. It's really exciting to have 16-inch control area.
Trying to figure out how to handle this ball of nonsense that
Yeah,
Alex
well,
has
it's just a
sitting in
glut
front
of
him.
models, most of which are on a hill, and it's just like...
Yeah, I definitely lucked out. Brian Geezy built our table, which I was very happy for because he does do something I think a lot of people just don't do, is that build tables that have terrain that matters.
Yep.
So it was nice to see this.
Well, because we have the other opposite extreme here in Madison. Nathan, Rudy fan, he likes to put a wall 13 and a half inches forward.
Sure.
On kill box scenarios.
So
It's hilarious to him.
Well, you could hide your solos there.
Yeah. All the support for your caster can be behind that wall, but he's going to be in front of it.
That's rough because, not only does it keep you out from behind a wall, but it also forces you an extra inch, if not more, into the zone.
Yeah, it's kind of a dick move.
So you've got to contest from a different angle.
Yeah, so something I do a lot of times when I sit down at a table and I don't know the TO now is I'm like, I'm going to just measure how far forward this wall is. All right, I want that side.
Yeah.
F that noise.
So it looks like
I'm making sure Eris has line of sight to the wolf that's in the zone there.
Yep.
Which she did.
So she can aim.
So she can aim and just stand there and go.
And he looks like he's
even without aim, she only needs 4s to hit. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now she needs not snakes.
Not snakes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And he looks he's a little too far to...
And I'm still pondering my turn. This is...
be shield guarded
It's like watching an idiot play the game.
Yeah, way too far to be shield guarded.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like, why am I still thinking about this? Now I'm going to measure... Okay, now I'm shooting at you.
Well...
I think you were checking line of sight, then deciding if you wanted to allocate before, because I don't think that was actually...
And you can't see it there, but I did roll the 3, so hilariously, if I had not aimed, I would have missed.
Yeah, my heart did skip a little beat when I saw the 1 land, but sadly, he still hit me.
Alas.
So Restoration, the other R spell that she has, gets taken off of the wolves, making them pretty easy to kill with blast damage.
Which is unfortunate for the wolves, but it did provide a bit of a distraction, and your regrowth did stay, and that I feel might be the more important spell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good tactical decision.
Yeah.
And the other thing is where you put those wolves. I couldn't get Eris across the field to the blood trackers
Not
because she'd just get murdered. CMA and death.
Yep.
Jeremy holding the template wrong.
It's actually Jeremy's first game of War
I'm
Machine.
really good at this game. That's okay because then Alex measured the wrong direction.
Measures the wrong direction.
3s and 6s look really similar. So I think Jeremy clips a wolf and 1 blood tracker here, maybe 2. A wolf and 2 blood trackers.
I think 2.
At this point, I'm not super panicked about blood trackers dying. Because
No, you're like, oh, blood trackers, that's a drag.
now that Eris is activated, there's no way regrowth was going.
Oh man, I killed a wolf! Yay!
Looks like 2 blood trackers. And
2 blood
Yeah,
trackers.
a wolf and 2 blood trackers.
Yep. Take care, Carnage. Carnage is interrupting us because he's leaving.
Yeah.
Don't mind the moment of dead air. That was us. So I'm still really, Jeremy. Like seriously, a retarded monkey moves faster than this. Like I remember, I looked down at my clock at the end of this turn, and I was like, "The hell was I doing?"
You started
with myself?
this with 50 minutes. You've already
52.
lost 52. You've already lost 5 minutes now, and you've managed to shoot Iris's gun and fire an AoE.
Yeah. Yep.
The motion you just saw Jeremy make towards the objective is he was talking about my placement around the objective being such that a 3-inch AoE won't clip those 2 blood trackers.
Which made me sad.
But of course, we are on second round, first player, second round. So
Yep.
they're
even
not
be
even
targeted.
I
targetable.
can't target it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I'm gonna. What am I doing? Seriously, Jeremy, do something with your life. Okay, Rahn is doing something. Shit's getting real now.
The game will now be played.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start to measure Rahn. I'm gonna be like, all right, now we're gonna do some shit. And in a second here, hopefully I'm intelligent enough to double check that I'm not in kill box. I'm almost positive I checked that.
And the Wold Watcher did
You
put
look
up
like
his
you're plenty
animus,
far
so
forward.
he can't be knocked down or pushed, but he can be slammed.
And I was like, can you double check whether he can be slammed?
Yeah,
and Alex is like,
yeah.
yep. And I was like, and then Alex's face fell.
Yeah. So calm though the side of my face may look, I'm actually having a pretty intense emotional breakdown at this point. Because you can see the wolf leader standing in a pretty much straight line.
Well, and I'm excited about the fact that the shifting stone's there too. I'm like, man, I just blow out that roll on the shifting stone. That'd be amazing.
Yep. It would be very bad for me. Very bad.
But why am I moving? I was so excited. Ron was going to do things.
These battle mages are going to come in and just pop out a couple of my wolves.
Just try to go for some wolves, yeah.
I did like this because while they are not affected by blast damage, it does make them a little more columnar.
Yeah.
Because they've got to get in between the zone and the
Yeah,
wall.
that was terrible. That unit, you were like,
could have been
the way I
played.
deployed them just ruined them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
spent too
ruined
many
my
turns.
Oh, look, a hit.
Oh man, no, they need 8s
All right.
or 7s. They need
Needs-
7s.
needs
See,
sevens.
realistically, you're going to
So I
get
missed.
like
I hit.
3,
No, I
4
missed. I
chances
missed. I
to
hit. There we go. I hit 1, and then I've got 2 shots left because the 3 in the back all had line of sight to that one guy. They just 2 of them missed, and then there got 1. Or no, there we go.
Yep.
I killed 2 with 5 shots. Oh no, 2 with 4 shots, and then my 5th shot. Maybe double check range. Yep.
I've blinked since this game, so I don't remember it. very well.
Yeah. Looks like I missed.
You missed. It looked like a flip.
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. So battle mages not under the feet, fairly terrible spell slingers. Makes
Yeah,
me really
needing
jealous of
7s to
druids.
hit. Yeah, it's kind of rough. 60%, 62% of
Yeah.
chance to hit. So
Yeah.
more often than not, but not by much.
The first time I saw druids with their with my exact same spell, but the ability to actually use it, I was super pissed.
Yeah. Yep. Of course, they do pay 4 more points for that whole unit.
They do. Well, one of the things I've actually thought about doing on this list is instead of having 2 of the units of battle mages, drop one of them for 2 magisters.
I've seen a lot of people
I
go that
think
route
that might
with
be
Ron.
the better route.
Yeah, it's a drag because you get a lot less pulls, but hey, you hit occasionally.
It's a drag.
It's a drag.
Also-
Yeah, I didn't even intend that. That was pretty good.
Well
Two
played.
solos take up a lot less spot than
Yup.
Yeah.
all of the battle mages, and you can actually deploy them in an appropriate place.
Yep, exactly. And then you start to think about, well, if I'm going to do that, maybe I take that point, I drop the 2 assassins, and I bring the Feign Knight. Some exciting possibilities open up.
So I'm really hoping that at this point, a lot of the circle players are screaming at my stone placement and just where my models are,
And you should be.
and the fact, by all rights, please do, and and also the fact that I thought that I was playing against Rhett and I'd bring a swath of infantry, but I felt that. Well, number one, Ron, I've got a 20% chance to avoid Ron because there are 5 casters, 6 casters, 7 casters,
7
now, right?
casters
Because I
now,
forgot about
yeah.
Epic Virus.
Yeah, Epic Virus.
But, well, maybe I'm less likely to see Ron, and then of course I see Ron. But I was hoping that bless you. I was hoping that the swath of infantry would last out.
The stealth is still a super drag. Like,
And that was a big
Yeah.
part of my decision
stealth
as well.
super drag against Red. Unless you're playing Kalissa. Honestly, one of the things that's really nice about Kalissa, I have been playing her a lot lately, and I don't know if she's the right decision, I'll be honest, but just being able to pick apart 3 stealth models a turn
absolutely.
is one of her best abilities,
Yeah.
and people underrate it.
Yep.
Because it's just like she's a rat 7. I aim, I shoot Phantom Hunter and hit stealth, and now I'm trying to shoot. I'm going for really high percentage rolls here, like NIST, Rat 6, shooting at
For sure.
14s.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I hit one.
He did bump one of his NIS, which
Yeah.
is cheating.
Yeah, I'm a super cheater. Well, I like to cheat savagely when I have a friend come over to play a game locally in my own basement.
If you're going to do it savagely.
Yeah. So I've used up almost 10 minutes. I've activated 2 units and a Jack and Eris.
And Eris.
Yeah,
I
so
think by the
I'm
time-
playing pretty quickly.
By the time this turn ends, I look at the clock and I'm like, well, he went first. That means I have about a 10-minute turn before, and to remain ahead on Death Clock.
Yeah.
Which is something that I try and pay a lot of attention to, and then ultimately usually doesn't matter that much because most games end before Death Clock. So.
I don't know. It depends what you're playing. If you're playing against like Menoth,
Yeah.
then it's something to definitely keep an eye on.
Very true.
Because I often, my Menoth opponents are running out of time by the end, even if they're crushing me.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they're crushing me in some ways.
Yeah.
So.
It's not a short turn that Jeremy's taking.
No.
You
I'm just
make this-
milking this time,
You
man.
make this very hard to commentate because there's
nothing
nothing happening.
I think he's trying to decide what to do with his battle mages because if he moves them
they're
forward,
preyed, yeah.
if he moves them forward, they're all just going to die.
Well,
so-
right now they're triggering prey for the unit of blood trackers,
for
and I'm just like,
movement.
that's terrifyingly bad. All right, fuck it. They're
So-
just out of the game. They're gone.
Yep,
So
they-
one thing you might want to try to do that might help you is like I understand that Death Clock is a good format and you guys play it a lot up here, but
Yeah.
give yourself your own personal timer.
Oh, I play time
and
turns
try
a
to
lot.
fit
I-
everything in under that. 'cause
Like I
you
said,
were
I have
rolling
not
on
played Rahn in
almost
5
an
months.
11-minute
Yeah.
turn.
I haven't played Rahn in 5 months. Like, I don't remember. Let me see. How many of these models do I play in any other list? I play the Phoenix in a list, which you'll notice he activated quickly. I play Eris. Again, she activated quickly. And I
of
play
them.
Arcanists.
Okay, sure. And when you're playing a caster like Ron, you've got, and the same is actually true for Epic Veil, you have so many vectors, and your caster is so active, and you have
Yep.
so many options that a lot of times you're just spoiled for choice, and you sit and you kind of have a moment of freeze because you don't know what you actually want to do with your caster.
Yeah, and that's 100% what happened. And the other thing is I played against P. Morvana once, and so I'm sitting there like watching him do his turn. The other thing is I did not expect his entire turn to be I'm going to clump all of my infantry on a hill just outside of the zone. That was not my expected thing that would happen.
Did you think I would just run forward?
I thought you would advance forward with some of your stealth stuff a little bit more, and then I'd be looking at more chain blastiness, and you really didn't.
And that was my concern, was why I chose not to do
Right.
that.
So I did a Silas chain blast into a blood dragger.
Nope.
Oh,
you-
no, that
World
was,
Watcher.
That was a Hydra shot.
Oh, that was the
Phoenix shot.
The Phoenix shot,
the
not
Phoenix
Hydra,
shot.
sorry.
Yeah.
Couldn't be a Hydra because that model never
You
gets
know what? I'm
filled.
almost
No.
positive I cast a chain blast and didn't do my second chain blast.
I think that is true.
I'm almost positive that happened.
I'm equally as positive.
Yeah. I think that might have been what just happened. No, I haven't
Looks
gone with
like
Ron
yeah,
yet
yeah.
because
Couple
Chain Blast was
Yeah.
was a next turn, I believe.
yeah. But yeah,
Spoiler
I'm
alert.
almost positive I did that because I'm really out of practice with Ron.
Sure.
So chain
is-
blast, pretty good spell.
Yeah.
It does 2 AoEs.
It does. I hear.
and
it
it's
does.
twice as good when you use them both.
That's what they say.
Absolutely.
Why it costs 3, I believe.
Digs pretty deep.
So yeah, shit happens.
But these games are nice, the ones that are outside of tournaments, because you just you can bring a list that maybe you're not super familiar
So
with.
I noticed you
and-
just activated the Arcanist down by the bottom Hydra. Is there any reason you didn't activate him first to allow the Hydra to boost his shot?
Yeah, no, just
Phoenix.
forgot. Straight up forgot.
Phoenix. Why do I keep calling it a Hydra?
because you're bad.
I know.
You would be bad if you played the Hydra.
Yeah. So yeah, why?
I straight up. I remembered the one up at the top of the board, 100%, and the one at the bottom. I moved him, and then I looked down, and I was like, "Why is there a solo on?" Oh fuck, that's an Arcanist.
That measure was for the Force Hammer onto my World Watcher,
Yep.
which will cross. You'll see as soon as he hits very easily.
Yep, with 3 dice drop
Yeah.
below against a Def 7.
Jeremy rolls,
I needed not snakes on 3s, and then I'm going to roll it. I'm like, oh yeah, D6, that's amazing.
and there's
It looks like
It's
a,
a
is
5,
it
I
a 6
believe.
or a 5?
Pretty sure it's a 5. I'm like, so that's going to go. Yep, that's
Yeah.
going to be pretty good for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty okay
so
with
there's
that.
a stone and the UA.
Yeah, so I roll first on the guy I hit at dice minus a bazillion because he's in.
He's
Oh no, he only animist. He
No,
didn't snow
I
form.
forgot to stone form because
Yep,
I am a
you
bad.
Did. You did.
But ultimately, he does 1 point, I believe.
Dice minus 5. I do like.
oh, those look abysmal.
Yeah, they were 100%. Of it. I think I did
3
other
and a
damage.
1
At dice
in
minus
there,
5.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, so that's fine then. Maybe the shifting stone I'll blow up the dice. And then I'm like, oh, except I only get 2 dice, which is
That's me trying to mark damage on a World Warden who has significantly more health than a World Watcher. Lots of W's there.
so. I'm like, I was asking if the Silas benefit worked on collateral damage, and he correctly said that it did not. So I rolled 2 damage against the stone, and nothing worthwhile because I'm dice minus 6.
Dice minus 6.
I rolled a
You would have
6.
had to roll an 11 to kill it outright.
Yep.
which is
And then
pretty
on the
unlikely.
solo, I'm like, boom!
Yep. 5 boxes minus 1 only needs to roll a 6 to kill. I think you rolled a 9 there.
Yeah.
So they still command 8 without the UA? Or does that drop to
You
a
know,
That,
we
I'm,
forgot to check
that
that.
I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to call that fairly irrelevant.
The other thing
Yeah,
that I
that's
noticed,
true. There
the
are
other
several
thing-
of them gone now.
Yeah, the other thing I didn't notice until partway into my turn is I at least had no idea who the unit leader was from this point forward. I'm not sure you were playing with one at that
No,
point.
I certainly was.
Oh, okay.
Is he the one on the hill?
He's actually the one right in the middle on the hill with his
Oh,
spear.
okay.
up
Well,
in
that
the
works
air.
out well then. So you had it under control.
Absolutely.
I was like, I just have no idea, and it doesn't matter. And I'm pretty
That
sure I just
looks
snaked
like a
another roll.
pathetic
Yeah,
roll.
trying to kill a blood tracker with Narn eventually does so.
Yep, Narn hits.
Actually don't know how hard Narn hits, so I don't immediately take the model off the table. Then
and then
it's,
I'm like, Weapon
wow,
Master 11, and he's like,
Weapon Pretty
It seems
scary.
about 4 dice
Pretty
too many.
scary solo.
And then I sprint away because that's how Narn do what he do. And I won't spoil. I'll wait till something happens, but I have something to tell about that model later.
At this point, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my wolves because while I haven't lost my standard, which is useful because I might not fail command checks as often, but
Oh, and the power swell.
but I did
that
lose
went
power.
away, didn't
I
it?
lost power
Yeah.
swell. So and there's a polarity fielded Phoenix right in front of me, so power swell is less than useful because I can't trash a jack with it. So
No.
or even hurt a jack with it. Really.
Yeah, and
So-
most of the stuff in my army you don't need power sword to kill, sadly.
No.
He did kill 5 blood trackers. My turn starts. I pull my fury. Regrowth happens in the control phase at the same time, so I do pull 5 to bring 5 blood trackers back. Maybe not the wisest idea to upkeep one spell and then dump almost all of my fury.
That was the command check for the wolves.
Yes, the command check for the wolves, and they did love every
They,
minute of it.
they really, really love watching their buddies get fried.
So I start replacing some blood trackers. I decide that since I can't charge the Phoenix and he's got combustion anyway, and
Yeah.
and I really do want to tie up the NIS because I don't want them threatening my caster in any significant way. I do mostly put them on the side of the table to start going after
Yeah,
NIS.
the other thing we forgot to confirm, but you suspected, was that the placements are all simultaneous.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to chain. I don't know if that's actually correct.
Yeah,
I
we should look
haven't
that up at
done-
some point.
Yeah, maybe.
A very famous Asian on the internet told me that you should never pick up and turn over your cards. So,
I hear that, especially when dealing with gators or any
Yes.
kind of reptile.
yes, reptiles specifically.
Yep.
Their cards are particularly heavy.
when you have tiny, weak arms like John does. Then, yeah.
So,
So I'm kind of just trying to figure out how to. A lot of playing P. Morvana, I feel like, is an exercise in trying not to get her assassinated, and Rahn is particularly good at that. So a lot of my decisions kind of informed. Oh God, I'm going to get killed every turn that I don't take active steps in avoiding it. So what you'll see is me just honestly kind of throwing my blood trackers forward, doing not much, because my main concern is just keeping Morvana alive.
yeah, that disheartened look on my face as I glanced at my clock.
And you realize
Noticed
you
that I
burnt
used 15 minutes
minutes
to kill 5 wolves of Ouroboros. That was my sum total.
Yes.
Was 5 wolves of Ouroboros for 15 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Not a good trade. Widely
Lord of the
considered not a
Feast.
good use.
Lord of the Feast, of course. Now let's revisit Lord of the Feast and why players don't like it. Lord of the Feast is Rat 7. You would think that he's got maybe like a 75% chance to hit something that's Def 12, and I of course rolled a 4.
He did.
We did talk a little bit after the game. Had Lord of the Feast hit that model and landed on Narn and that assassin, thank you, he probably would have not accomplished that much. Maybe hitting one of them and killing it, but beyond that, he would have just been killed next turn. And I feel like that's a lot of where misplay from Lord of the Feast comes from, is that you don't evaluate where he's going to end up very well, and so you end up throwing him away needlessly.
Yeah, his honestly, what scares me the most about, ironically, scares me the most about Lord of the Feast is the terror checks. in Ret.
Absolutely.
That's just miserable for Ret.
So I decided to charge Narn with some wolves.
One wolf ran, one wolf charged, I believe.
It's a high chance that it's not going to hit, but we'll see what happens. I think I actually forgot powerful charge here as well,
You probably did,
but
we'll see if it matters.
need a
and
10 to hit him, I believe. He's
and then-
defense,
and then
or
a
maybe
few of the
15,
wolves-
maybe a 9.
diddle around a little bit, and he's like, all right, let's roll.
I roll
I'm
like an 11 to hit, maybe.
Oh, well, he's
So,
I'm like, armor 13, dice minus. Oh.
Sorry, I'm rolling
I
behind
was gonna say, I
the
love how all
thing.
these are behind the building.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I-
you rolled a 13 for the damage roll against
Yep.
Narn. Narn,
You are
no
left-handed,
liking.
so
I
it's
am
just kind
left-handed.
of the
Yeah, so
Narn
standard.
did not like.
no.
And the thing is, I'm right-handed, and I managed to roll in front of the camera, but don't worry about it.
Shut up, Jeremy.
Well,
If I learned
those of
anything
yours that
coming to
land on the
Madison-
table are in front of the camera.
Yes.
If I learned anything coming to Madison, it's to not respect you.
Yeah,
So-
well, I feel like you could have learned that before coming here. I'll be honest. If you listen to any of our podcasts. I am the Crump of Madison, as they say.
Deciding what the Battle Mage's defense is, and that I'll probably just launch a Forest at them. And I boost, of course, because I need a 10 to hit. I roll much higher than a 10.
Yeah, some of the dice on this particular turn were a little high.
Jeremy was kind enough to let me know that I did not need to boost because he's only armor
he was
12.
going to boost, and I was like, he's armor 12.
So my idea here is just to slow the Battle Mages down.
That Forest is in a miserable place for
I
me.
might have been better off targeting the Battle Mage to the other side.
Possibly, although that Forest did get in my way.
Yeah. Yep.
That was very uncool for me. And then, I'm not sure. You're like asking what the NIST... Oh, no, I was volunteering that the NIST's defense was 15, I think is what was going on.
Wold Warden moves up. I feel like Wold Wardens are really good with Morvana because Eruption of Life is a very good spell, especially when she does not have to cast it. Because a range 10 POW 13 is pretty significant.
Yeah.
That I can
going to boost it. Needing a...
I need an 8 to hit. I roll a 5, a 2, and a 1.
Yep, so he hits.
Unfortunately, they're just far enough out that I don't get multiples, so there goes one Nis, there goes a Forest, because they care a lot about that.
Yep, they do.
And
or no.
Actually, I think it detriments that one blood tracker more than it detriments... Because she can't see through the woods. But.
Should be fast
forests
enough
are
to
amazing.
maneuver around the forest and still be mildly okay, but
Yeah.
So at this point, from my perspective, things are going somewhat well for Alex. Positionally, getting rid of Narn was big for him. Like, I really, really like having Narn available against Morvana.
Sure.
He's not decap or no tough or anything, but boy, is he amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so
this is me spritzing this Phoenix with my Black Cloud Wayfarer, hoping for a crit. I roll 3/3, get the crit, knock him down.
Yep. I was like, oh well, yeah, of course he does that. That's
Only power 12 though, so I think I managed to do very little, maybe a
shield.
point.
Yep,
and I
you
did
a
1
point.
Yep.
Oh no, 2 points.
2 points. Yeah, 2 points to the shield. Phoenixes have a hard time repairing their shield, so it was really useful. really useful damage.
I was actually really proud of myself. This might be the third time ever I've remembered to use the Phoenix Field ability.
Well done.
It's okay because I used to play Rahn at every tournament, and I remembered this maybe 3 times. So I'm pretty good at the game. Well, it's on the back of the card, and again, we discussed.
Yeah,
that's really a problem.
The most elusive side of the card is the back. This is me not panicking, but deciding that I've got a few charges taken away from me because of maybe not intentional, but useful placement by Jeremy where he's blocking charge lanes to the back line of his.
Brian does like to say that anything I do that's good must have been an accident, so it probably was.
Okay.
So
I need 9s to hit him. It's probably not going to happen. I might have even just been better off standing still and shooting a few of them.
I was shocked that wasn't what you did, actually. I really was.
With the location of the NIST and the location of where my blood trackers are, had I stood still and backed up, you still would have either had charge or walk
advance
shoot
forward
range.
and shoot.
Yeah.
But me walk shooting against your NIS, not great.
Against his NIS?
My blood
Or
trackers.
against your blood trackers.
I charged it
at 6, and it's hard to get CRA on stealth models.
That is very true.
It's really
and
hard
I probably
to
should
get
have
CRA on
realized
stealth models.
that. Yeah.
So is that 2 blood trackers charges the objective?
I think 3 end up over there.
Yeah, he puts quite a few into it. I wasn't really sure about that decision either.
Well, I wasn't sure where else they were going to go.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
And so if I could at least start working on that one, because I certainly wasn't going to attack the other one anytime soon.
No, yeah.
And with Reform...
Well, actually, could Getterix have just straight up reached that other objective that turn? Because he can one-round one.
He could have.
But then he's gone.
Then he's dead.
Because there is no stalker.
Oh, yeah, because the wolves already went.
Yeah, and I have no stalker.
Good point.
Which I actually don't think is going to change because I don't know that I need a stalker. And I like, since Morvana doesn't do much for Matt, and I did decide not to bring a Gorax in this list because I don't feel like he's always necessary.
I agree.
The Matt 7 is very, very useful.
No, I completely agree. I think the way you've got the beast in the list
Whatever
is
that
actually
was
pretty
surely
good.
hit.
Yep, he hit the objective.
Yep,
he's rolling
so
trip dice
these
damage
are
for the
damage
objective.
rolls. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're -9s because it's the hard objective to kill.
Yep. If only there are 15.
So I take off that 2 dice the dice with the 2 on it that I was using to mark damage and just write down a 2 because I don't want to leave my dice there.
Here goes my, I think, 6 chances at 1/9.
Yep.
That certainly isn't it.
That's not one.
No.
Nor is that one. And,
No.
what a shame.
No.
No, I wanted
Close,
it. Man,
it
did
tried.
I guess 4 chances out of 9. Man, did I want it with that last roll.
But the thing is, like, you're tying up the NIS, which
And with
which is good for you.
regrowth and you not having
That is
multiple
almost
attacks,
an
I will
unending battle.
attrition you pretty
I
hard.
will. I will lose that fight eventually.
Because
It
even
may
if
take 4 rounds.
Yeah.
But
Sure, yeah.
But he doesn't get. Morvana has all the time in the world. Like, that is the way you
Yes.
have to play her.
Absolutely. These are my reforms. I'm just moving to try and tie up as many Nis as possible.
I was actually really bummed about this reform because I was eyeing, like, I'm going to blow up five blood trackers. And then you reformed away from my Phoenix. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Sad times. Actually, one of those reforms might have incurred a free strike that we missed, though I'm not sure. Though one blood tracker looks like it's in base to base, so you wouldn't have had line of sight to it. So.
Yeah, it might not have been.
Who's to know?
Because you did leave the one that was definitely within.
Yeah.
Like, he definitely stayed.
Yeah.
So, and my Phoenix is knocked down, engaged by 2 things. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that happened. So I'm sure
that was Jeremy giving me a freebie because I left one blood tracker in the back.
Yep.
Just letting me run it forward.
You know, I try to be nice when it doesn't matter at all. And then when it matters...
That's when you turn the dick on.
That's when you drop the hammer. The Force Hammer?
The Force Hammer.
Oh, my.
Oh,
wow. Topical.
shenanigans.
Look out. You can probably tell where Fort Morvana is moving to, what with the wide open space in the middle of that hill.
Yeah.
Like I had said before, she's defense 19 on a hill in concealment against Rahn. Still not that great because boosting Signs and Portents kind of just clips that right back to where it needs to be.
One thing I was shocked you didn't do that I would recommend next time you play Morvana is move the Swamp Gobbers forward, lay down your cloud, put her behind the cloud so she's completely untargetable.
Oh, okay, sure.
Rhett hates the fuck out of that.
Out of clouds? That would make sense.
Yeah, just,
of course, then
being
I have,
behind a 5-inch cloud.
But, yep, that's
because even
true.
if I do something, slam something into you or whatever, you're still behind the cloud and untargetable.
Absolutely, and that would have informed where I ended up putting my beasts as well. I wouldn't
would've.
have to feel like I needed them to protect Morvana.
Yep. So something to bear in mind. That's something that Katie has started to do with her Chromac list, although she often forgets to do that ability too. I use it with Saren. Saren mows up, she feats, cloud in front of her. You can't shoot me, you can't melee me, go after yourself.
That's a good way to use Swamp Gubbers.
Yep.
Embarrassing, I probably should already know that because I have been playing Swamp Gubbers since they've been released.
And don't you also play Legion?
I do play Legion, but I don't get shot. It's hard to get shot when everything that could shoot has been shot already.
Yeah, so that was I don't even remember who. Somebody pointed that out to me when I was playing Saren. It was probably JVM because he's JVM.
Sure.
And I was like, well, that's a really good idea.
So my front unit of stones ports, in a moment of panic, my front unit of stones ports my Wold Warden onto the hill.
Yep.
Then Geterix, because he's nowhere to be effective, runs
right behind
him, thinking that I've blocked line of sight to Geterix. So if he wanted to slam, it would be TKs, and when Ron has to start casting a lot of spells, his assassination gets a little dicey.
Much worse.
So this was my hope, because the angle was such that if he wanted to slam Geterix over Morvana, he would need to use the Phoenix that's further away from where the camera is sitting, and he doesn't actually have the angle there. It would have just barely...
No, the one to the left is actually... You actually put her just away from the camera, so the one closer to the camera.
Yeah, it looks like the one in the closer has the line.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That the one closer would have the line, but I thought I had blocked line of sight, so he would not.
So you would have to...
So you'd have to TK... You'd have to TK the Wold Warden out of the way, or TK Geterix, who's defense 18 in concealment on a hill.
Right.
In such a way that... So he's going to want to boost it, right? Because he's not going to want to roll that hard 8, even with Signs and Portents, in order to get the slam off. So I felt initially like I was very safe here. Not very safe. Very might not be the right word. But
well, fairly safe. You were feeling pretty good about Fort
Yeah.
Morvana at this point. One thing I will point out for the mathematically and geometry-minded in the group, if 2 models have the exact same base... You have to be in. There is exactly one line where you don't have the line to hit the model in the back. Mm-hmm. So something to bear in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're getting out a token for something?
I think I'm just seeing what's in my pocket.
Is that a phone in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
If anyone wants to know what's in my pocket, you can subscribe to my podcast. What's in my pocket? Ship the time over to Jeremy.
Yeah,
so
now we're going to get to watch
6,
me.
7, 11 minutes of staring at the table before we figure out that...
I'd apologize for this, but I apologize for nothing. That's my Phoenix Field, 3rd time ever I remembered that. Booyah.
And
Okay,
you have to remember
so
that when you're playing against a caster you're not super familiar with a caster that you haven't played in a while, there's a lot of second guessing that goes on.
Yeah, because I had the plan I had starting this turn is the plan I eventually wind up going for here.
Which,
and
by the way,
I'm not going to spoil.
Is generally the correct answer. The first thing you see more than likely is the thing you should start with.
Right. But the problem with Rahn, and this is the problem that I have with Rahn, because my 2 arc nodes are also my 2 beaters, I can't misallocate either of my arc nodes or Rahn in any way, or my whole list is just ineffective for a turn. And so what the real decision here is do I go for the kill, which is not great odds here especially because of the forest blocking one of my units of battle mages and the other unit of battle mages running away like little girls. Like I don't have a lot of resources to go for the assassination, but on the other hand, I have really good resources to just pull in Getorix and the Old Warden and try to just go for it.
Yep.
But I have to decide that during control phase.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I need to do some thinking during my control phase. Now, if I were a good player, I would have been thinking about this for the last 7 minutes while Alex was doing research, because all of the important models were pretty much in place for a few minutes, and I could have been thinking about this.
Absolutely.
But again, bad player.
Sure.
Should have already had an idea on how you wanted to
See,
clear out those wolves if necessary.
And conversely, I felt that Getorix is fairly safe from being pulled because he is 18 on the hill and battle mages aren't hitting him.
If I feat, they are.
If you feed, they still need what
12s.
12s.
Well, so here's what
Which is a little.
I
above
guess you could
average.
TK him around.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
TK
So then
him
you
around
knock
backwards.
down
You're
to
back
10s.
10s, and you're looking at just
Yeah.
average dice.
And all you need is one good pull to get him off the hill.
Yep, and
Yeah.
with 3 dice, I might crit, knock it down, and then,
Very true.
and then
And
you're
there
just
it
done.
is.
Then there
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Sure.
And actually, the higher his defense is, the chances of if you hit it being a crit is
Yep.
looking a lot
And I had
better.
both my assassins in a position. Well, one of them got tied up by one of the blood trackers because Alex is a bitch.
Boom.
But the other assassin is completely unengaged, and a knocked down heavy is really right in their wheelhouse. That's where they make their money. Is on a
Yeah,
knocked
sure.
down
Oh,
heavy.
yeah.
Sure.
So because that's the only time they don't miss for me. It's when I don't roll the dice.
I'm learning very quickly that relying on Circle's Beast's defense is not always the greatest choice because clever players and canny players usually find
They will
ways
find
to
ways.
mitigate it.
to
Well,
make them sit down.
the animus from the little guy, is it range self?
It is.
Yep.
Okay,
It is.
because if you could spam that, oh my god.
Obviously, I should just play P Boulder all the time. So
Yeah,
nothing can be
solid
knocked down.
ground is a badge.
It's a solid spell.
It's yeah. Actually, solid ground is. I'm going to give it out like something that Circle players probably already know, but probably one of the biggest kick in the nuts for Ret versus Circle.
Sure.
Our only Rat Mat fixer is to knock you down.
Mm-hmm.
Circle is generally high def. And our other Rat Mat fixer is Stormfall don't give no shits about your defense.
Yeah.
Which, again, doesn't work against solid ground.
Absolutely, yeah.
So Balder just straight is a kick in the nuts for Ret.
Sure.
And for those of you wondering, it's been 4 minutes, and
Yep.
we've healed a shield.
I have healed the shield, and I've put my focus in piles, thinking about what to do with it. I would like to point out that also happened.
Yeah, JR, so maybe you just back off.
I am getting into Alex's head right now. This is a mental game.
it's a game of wills.
I am attacking him with my mind.
Which, if you
And
know
it's
you've
working,
got
too, because
30
my-
some minutes left, and you're contemplating the assassin.
Yeah, it's like I've got 30 minutes
If
to
you've
assassinate.
got the time,
Yeah.
it might be worth it to take it and think about it a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm like,
if
what
it
do I need to
fails,
clear?
you've already fucked yourself out of some
Well,
seriously good positioning. In
Out of
some
a good turn,
areas.
yeah. But
Yeah.
the thing about Rahn is that with the reach of his arc nodes and his feet being so powerful, is that he's one of the few casters who can go for an assassination. I feel like still be safe.
He
at
won't
the end
risk
of it.
himself.
Yeah,
But if he loses even one Phoenix and the other one's mucked up,
absolutely.
it hurts his game plan hard.
There is one positioning thing that I want to pretend like was really awesome, but ended up being a happy mistake. Getorix is in such a place that even if he were to get slammed back, he would still be in a unit of stones, even on a 6 roll.
Yup.
So he would still, while being knocked down, I could shake it and just port him in, or I wouldn't even need to do that because there are 2 units of stone, so I could double port and he could be right back in. The
And that
game.
was one of the things I was looking at is like, I cannot take Getorix out of the round. Like, and the double port from Getorix, actually, I did measure here at some point whether I was in the kill box, and I was a half inch out of it. So I can't move backwards, which means the double port from Getorix almost definitely gets to me unless I move laterally, and I have to move laterally my grand speed of 5 inches.
Yeah.
So Ron's not the most mobile caster.
No, he's not.
So my Phoenix moves up. I did remember to give it a focus because I'm not a complete noob, as it turns out. And then he gets to free strike me with a wolf, and I'm like, wolves.
It's-
I
it's
declared that
cute.
I was going to take out his arc node, but
Yeah.
that's
Through
something
the shield
like,
of 10
that's
boxes.
something like dice minus impossible. So
Yes. Through the shield, it is, I think, actually mathematically
There goes
impossible. And then I
the
combust.
combustion to clear those out.
Yep.
probably
And
one of the
then
more annoying things. That
double check
Phoenixes
if I
are
had the other
capable of
wolf,
doing.
and I don't. I didn't think I did, but I just figured I'd check
You
it.
saw me pass another command check because
Yep.
wolves give no fucks.
Like a boss. Because wolves are used to watching their brethren die.
Yeah, I mean that's why they're there, right? If only I had like a pot to.
So now
recur
all
them.
3 wolves are fairly content with their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
think
One of them
that-
being a standard bear with no weapon.
Yes.
I think there are 4 wolves.
Where's the 4th?
There's the standard.
Well, there's
bear.
one right behind the Phoenix.
Yeah.
That's still the
Yeah.
Phoenix hasn't gone yet.
1, 2, 3. I don't see a
Oh,
4th.
no, you know what? He has a point.
We should argue about it for at least 10 minutes. That way
And
we
for
can
those
move
of you that are
Jeremy's
watching
turn
the
forward.
video on
The other
YouTube
thing that
and
I'm eyeing here,
clearly see me pointing
that,
at the screen.
that if I'm not going for the assassination, is I also need to get rid of the Lord of the Feast.
Yes.
because he's a bitch.
He does need to.
He
But that's
is
the thing. You keep
starting
Lord of
to
the
be
Feast
in a
back,
very
and it becomes a
dangerous
very,
position.
very,
Yeah.
very dangerous.
So at this point, I have decided to go for it because I handed out no focus to any of my Phoenixes, and I moved forward the one that did not have Polarity Shield. So I'm a little bit pot committed here
Yeah.
because Getorix will kill the fuck out of that guy.
No, that was your assassin moved down and took out one
Assassin
of the
moved
blood
down.
trackers.
He was too close to my Phoenix that's knocked down. He would have gotten combusted,
Got
and
it.
I was like, so he can't really do anything. Yeah, he'll just charge a wolf or a blood tracker because why not? Because I was hoping that if everything went completely to shit, at least the blood trackers wouldn't overrun my whole army. That was a hope.
There's another combust. He has to roll damage roll on his own objective, though he doesn't do any
He
damage
doesn't
to
do
it.
any damage,
Does
but
light
it's
it
on
on
fire.
fire, however.
Yep. So it's on fire. It's
Yeah.
burning like a fire.
It doesn't-
And I sacrifice movement to get up, and again, he has focus to do nothing with. I joked about attacking my objective, but did not. So I remember to activate both Arcanists. This turn is really going baller for me so far. I Phoenix fielded,
Yep.
activated
Yes.
both Arcanists.
Yep.
I am firing on all cylinders.
You managed to notice that the assassin was going to get killed by a combust.
I did.
So,
I
yeah.
really,
Yes.
Yeah, you actually look a little bit like you know what you're doing.
not just a hat rack, my friend. And then I double check and triple check that I'm in range of Getorix.
Let's talk about line of sight there for a minute because
the thing is, I have a laser. Like I've already used it this game, and I don't get out my laser here. And now it's
Yeah,
like,
I think
yeah,
it's
you
because
got it.
it's
You
because
can
I
see
didn't.
the black box
I think it's
sitting
because
next
I
to all his tokens.
didn't
Yep.
dispute it at all. So
Yeah, so 4 dice dropped the low to hit Getorix. And I think I
looks like
actually
there's a
I
one
got
in
him
there.
like I was within a
It
point.
looked
Yeah.
pretty miserable.
Yeah, but I did exactly hit.
he moves
It
5
looks
inches
like
back.
a 5-inch slam.
That was a 5-inch slam.
Right over Big Mo.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey Morvana, suck on that.
So it is a power
So-
12 against Morvana, and for those of you who don't know, she is armor 13.
Yep.
13 armor.
So, and she does have one transfer.
She
First,
does.
I roll the damage on Getorix, who's only armor 17 because he's not engaged with anybody or anything sexy like that. Alex says they're just all in a cloud.
And Alex, I'm assuming those swamp gobbers are probably.
They died of power 12s because they are armor 11 with no boxes.
Yep.
So I roll damage against Getorix. I think I did like 6 or 7. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like a baller roll, but it was average.
It was reasonable.
Yeah, it was average. And then on Morvana,
That looks like 9.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
a 9.
it was 9, so I take 8. I'm going to, of course, transfer that. You'll see me swap transfer targets there for a minute just because I clicked on the wrong wold again.
Yeah. Also, he's going to switch the time over because he's thinking about it. He's like, 8. I don't know if I want to transfer 8. And he's like, well, of course I'm going to transfer 8. This is a stupid question.
That leaves me at 6.
This is the worst question ever.
I do this a lot. I really like playing really squishy casters, and I get them killed like I get paid to do it. I'm a squishy caster hitman, but only when I'm using them.
And then I moved the Fury from Getorix because he gets to bring that with him. That's a rule.
Yeah, you don't even need an open hand to carry
I
that
know,
around.
right?
Imagine that.
And then I'm like looking at it and I'm like,
Now
okay,
we found
so
the correct
that
one.
worked, except I'm completely out of range to TK her, which was the second part of the plan, because the Phoenix that's further away from the camera, I'm measuring it with my control, but he's almost exactly a half inch out of range for the TK.
That is correct.
Because I don't get the feet range extension through an arc node.
Nope. Only when you
Sad.
are the origin point.
Sad times. And the Silas boost also when you're the origin. So
Yeah.
neither one of those help me out right now.
Ron could have TK'd himself and then been out of Fury. Focus.
Yeah.
Focus.
He would have had 3 left. Or 1 left. So instead I was like, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to just shoot at a black
See,
light.
and here at this point, I was actually hoping that I was safe. That
Yeah.
you were spent. There was nothing else you could really do.
Yep.
Thinking that I was far enough away from everything.
Yep, which you were pretty damn close to not
Yeah.
reachable here.
Yep.
I have a unit of battle mages that are just not even in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I have a unit of battle mages jammed up behind a forest. I have Narn got killed, sadly. I have Iona and Holt, but they're also
Looks
kind of far
like
back.
a 6.
Yeah, I blew the fuck out of the Black Lad with a boosted. That hit him, and then I rolled like bonkers for the damage.
Looks
This was the chain blast that you forgot to
Chain-
chain blast.
Yep.
Actually, it only looked like a 9, but it's definitely enough to take him out.
Yeah, because it's like dice plus 1 or
Tried to make a fake tough check,
And then
but
I-
it doesn't trick anybody. Man, I try every time.
And then I'm
So,
like,
yep, and then the
so
other chain blast goes into
didn't
the
happen.
ether.
Yep. But what I really feel like was it was a moral victory because I didn't want the chain blast.
He was
I
so
also
good, he didn't
completely
need to
forgot
win
about
without
the
him.
fact that a key part of my plan here was to have Ron scoot to the left. So that didn't happen. Ron's just going to sit there in the middle of everything, like a boss. To be
See,
fair,
and
I was a
this is
little
where-
afraid if I
This
moseyed
is where
left.
Jeremy's "I'm playing great" starts to slip.
Yep. Well, I was firing on all thrusters for like a whole minute and a half there, and I can't keep that up.
Yeah.
That kind of mental
It can't-
energy.
Well, I'd
can't
like to
take
think
it,
that your
Captain.
firing on all thrusters lasts about 10 minutes, but 9 of that was thinking.
It's a mental game, JR.
That's right.
It's a mental game.
It's all played in the mind. Battle Mage is
looks
about
like-
10 inches away at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah.
So
With range 12.
the forest try though I might to keep him safe.
I actually I hit.
Yeah, for sure.
I picked those up really fast, but I exactly hit her.
Yes, on the nose.
Needing a 4 or something stupid on 3
like
dice.
that, yep.
Pulled a little
Because
bit
a knockdown Morvana and Consuming on a hill is defense 9.
Yeah. So he pulls her hits the stone, so he doesn't get to pull very far, and then does
7 points?
7 points, I believe. That looks like 7.
So I'm at half health?
Yep, half health, and I've got 1 battle mage left, and then Eris has not yet activated as well.
Very true.
She hasn't.
And
so-
does Eris have Pathfinder? I can't recall.
She does.
She does.
So there you go. That force
Like a
didn't
boss.
matter. There's the handshake.
There's the handshake.
As I get crushed.
Yep.
Truly crushed.
Yeah. The second one, because she was, I must have rolled the dice, the hit and the damage. I don't remember, but yeah. So I was like, this guy should have been here.
Yeah, this is our here's where we fucked up part of the game.
Man, if I were good at this game.
Which obviously
may
could
be
take
longer
as
than the
long
game.
as the game for
Oh
sure.
no,
for
the
sure. Thanks,
Phoenix.
JR.
What I was saying there was, had you been just an inch over, I could have moved the Phoenix to that spot instead to get the arc.
Oh, right.
It would have cost me an extra focus because I would have had to give him focus to shake. So I wouldn't have been able to do that sweet ass chain blast that I did.
Well, it would have been difficult to get him to move too, because didn't he have to combust to get the models away from him?
Valid point. 100% valid point. That would not have worked.
But there was a knockdown. He was knocked down at the time. The assassin could have come in and cleared out.
The
one
assassin,
round.
yeah, I guess the
It's
assassin
definitely
could've-
certainly doable.
Yeah,
And then
could have made it happen.
And
then
Jeremy
that's my
struggles
face.
to turn off a camera because he can't find the actual red button.
Right. So for a minute here, you're going to actually see, because we're like, can't figure out how to turn it off. And then so Alex in a second here is going to go running off to go find Andy. So that'll be exciting for you guys to see.
Well, thanks
There
everyone
goes
for
Alex.
watching.
Yep. Really enjoyed having you guys here. JR, Alex, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us for sure.
Yeah, you guys have to come do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
And Andy got a little, he said it was a little difficult to do when we cut off the sound ahead of time. So I'm going to keep going here until the video actually ends. So you guys have anything you want to talk about in the last 30 seconds here?
My list is going to change. I definitely think P. Morvana has a good game against a lot of casters, but my list, I think I'm going to lose the Wolves, add in Druids, lose Lord of the Feast, and put in a Witch Dog Croc.
Good call.
That gives my Blood Trackers no more, they don't run away anymore. I can still regrowth them. Regrowth, yeah.
Yep.
And the tough helps the jam, so.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that I want to do Battle Mages for 2 Magisters and
Yeah.
maybe bring in the Fey Knights to the Assassins. Thanks again, folks. Bye.